Unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa. Good. I think good evening, everyone from the Pan-African Daily TV. I think it's been a while, and a lot of our people are still sleeping. I think they don't even think that we are live tonight. So um, I have Elder Rodney with me here, Headley with me here. Elder Robert, good evening.
Good evening, Dr. Suzanne. Good
It's so
evening.
nice to see you. It's so nice
Yeah,
to see you. How are you?
I'm good after a long time, after a very long time. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm very good. Hard
Okay.
at work, trying
Uh,
to redeem the time.
all right. Yes, I think tonight we want to share something very important and interesting. Um, I don't know. Are we live?
Um, I think we are. I think
Okay.
I can see that we are.
I'm asking the family out there. Are we live? Can you hear us? Can you see us? I want to feel the family getting in. All right. I see Marilepo, Semi, um, and
So Milo,
blessings. Semi, Semi Elder. Is it your group?
yes, Marapilo, Sawilo,
Yes. Wow.
Kenilo.
It's so interesting. Yes. And they're saying yes, we are all there. Wow. It's good. Wow. Queen Ire, can you see me? Where are you watching from? Are you watching us from YouTube or from the Pan African Daily TV Facebook? Because I think I'm having some interruptions here. I want to be quite sure that we're connected before we start this conversation. I want you to give me a signal out there. From which channel are you watching us on YouTube or on Facebook? Where are you watching? Just type in the comment. Let us know. Because it seems as if one of our channels is not correct, is not connected, as from what I can see on YouTube. Masofa say on YouTube. Thank you so very much for that comment. Is anyone watching us on Facebook? Is there anyone watching us on Facebook? Queen Ira, thank you so much for your feedback. Do we have anyone watching us from Facebook? It's weird.
Was I supposed to log into both of them?
Oh, no, 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 no. You are very good. You're here. It's from our own side because they've been acting these days. Either they are not giving us access on YouTube or on Facebook or whatever the case is. And yeah, and I see even from the chat group in it's okay, but I mean from those that are watching. Anyway, today we are live again, direct on the Pan African. It's not a rebroadcast. That's just what I want to make you all understand. We've missed each other for long. I mean, not long. A week is already too much.
Yeah.
Too much without being on Pan African Daily. And it's a lot. A lot has been going on the continent, and we've been watching carefully. We know all the uprisings between Ethiopia and Tigray, and it keeps happening day and night, and everyone is just watching. When I say everyone is just watching, the leaders on the continent are watching, just like they watch during the times of Libya and until something happens, right? And we heard the uprisings also in Sudan, which we did a short kind of break-ins on it. And so at one point, in as much as we turn our backs or we thinking that everything is okay in the community, on the continent, in various areas around the world where we're connecting, something else has to come up, right? And so I'm so happy that it's not only going to be bad news, because that's not the spirit of Pan-Africanism that we are building. There's not going to be any bad news. Why? Because there's not going to be any time that people will stop dying. It's not like we like the conflicts because we know that the invincible hands behind all what has been transpiring from the time immemorial, on the continent and wherever the Africans find themselves. So, kindly calling upon all of you, if you're watching, to share this stream, share this conversation, so we can get into this, to digest the positive of everything that has been happening around Elder Rodney and his projects. And, at Headley, last time we had this conversation on the naming and even the projects in Tanzania, and you connecting with the Kings. I mean, I think these are very, very good feedbacks that you want to share today with our audience worldwide, because it's been long. We haven't heard anything that positive. We've just been crying, mourning, from one place to the other. If this one is not happening in Zimbabwe, it's going to be happening in Uganda or in Cameroon, and now Sudan, and then Ethiopia. And then even us, if it's not happening in Haiti with the earthquakes, it's going to be happening in Saint Valentine. It's just like something is
Something has to happen.
yeah,
Or it's happening in Sierra Leone and Mali.
exactly.
Somewhere something is happening because, like I said off the air a little while ago, they left the continent for last. You see, they're broken up everywhere else, and they left the continent for last because they think it's a piece of cake. Because they've tested us, they've tried us, and they know that they can roll us over at any time. But we're
Mm-hmm.
noticing African leaders, and a pity that they didn't join at the same time with Messiah John Magufuli and Emperor Jerry Rawlings and the others that were calling for this unity and was standing up against, and some of these men were left alone. We see the man in Ghana standing up. We see others are trying to stand up, and we need to rally around these people that are calling, are saying to the West, and the young people that are speaking out at these conferences that they have, saying, you are responsible for what you have been doing to the planet. We are only responsible for 1%. And here you now asking us for more when you have orchestrated all these problems on the earth, and now you're coming to us suggesting to us that we need to pay again. We don't want to pay anymore because our young people are not getting jobs. We inherited an education system that makes us go to school more than we should go to school. You see, I've been in education from a very tender age. I started teaching at the age of 15, 16. And then I've done it in Guyana, the Caribbean. I've done it in Africa, and I'm doing it here in Europe. And so we have inherited a system that does not allow us to progress. From time to time, you'd see the likes of Mr. Bronson coming out. The Virgin man will come out and say he dropped out of school, but here he's running an airline. See, so it tells us that we don't have to be in there to run airlines. But we're not getting that picture. We are locked down in an education system that needs to be corrected so that we can access the wealth that is around us. And it must be tailored to directing us in that way. And so while I was absent, Dr. Susan, we have been working very hard in Black Queer Education TV. We've got going about 13 groups, and those groups are focused on the exodus, getting people back to the continent. But even before you get there, it's focusing on how we can unite and learn about the continent so that we can be of benefit when we get to the continent. So when we see all of these upheavals and these wars here and this fighting over there, misrepresenting the stories in Ethiopia, in the Western press, and all of this, it's all part of a plot. And that plot is Europe cannot survive without the resources of Africa. And Europe does not want to share that resources with the people that they thought was 3/5 of human beings. What they want to do is to be able, at this time, to dominate again. And because they can't come to us like before with the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, they've come to us with the Chinese Monetary Fund, the CMF. And so the Chinese is doing exactly what the Europeans have been doing. And the program is keep Africa subjected so we can harvest her organs. She's a living being, and we want to harvest her organs. She will die if we take her kidneys. She will die if we take her heart and her intestines. We take everything from her. She will die. We will milk her. The desire is not to make the continent grow, it is to shrink it. So anything that when you say things like Pan-Africanism and those things, they are not happy with that. When you show, like I do for my shows, because that's my area of it, is to take that Bible and show you that the whole Bible was taking place in Africa. You see? And when I began to do things like that, I don't get too much pushback from the Europeans because they know I'm talking facts, but it's my own people that will come and say, how you know so? Why is not so? Why is not so? But the European is not going to do that because he know that he fabricated history. And he has presented it to us in such a way that we are drinking in what he has given to us. And all he has given to us is lies. So now here you have land, rich land, and you have an education system that teaches our children maths, English, science, and all of these things. But no part of that education day do they come out and touch that soil. Put a seed in the soil. That's nursery. From nursery to university, they must be putting seeds in the soil from the day they start school. So when they leave school and go home, they can say, Daddy, Mommy, the square, could I have that square? You know, when I was in my country, Guyana, I was teaching at Bladen Hall Multilateral School. I never forget that experience. And there was a boy in my classroom, and he said to me, Sir, this is from I have my own bank account and everything. I said, why you got bank account? He said, because you see, when I go to the garden with my father, this plot here is mine. Everything that I reap from there is mine. So he's not giving him money free. He's showing him how to make the money. So he reaps, he works with the dad, but what come off of that plot, that small square is his, and he banks that. Doesn't have to spend it. You see? And we need, that's a Bantu education that we're proposing. We've got the curriculum ready. We just need, and we're starting implementing it in small measures already, all right, on the continent. And what we're doing is saying, look, we don't need to be in school for all 5 days a week. We only want to be there for some 2, for some 3. And the rest of it, they'll be in the fields doing the thing that they want to do and like to do. Some might want to do mechanics. Some might want to make furniture. Some might want to do agriculture. Some might want to plant, grow fish, right? Fisheries. Whatever is your liking, we will tailor the education system to fit your needs. So when you grow up, you don't have to leave the continent. All that you need is right around you because that's what you have. Forever, it passed down to you. I know now the nations are in the continent, and what they have done, they've managed to trick the chiefs, some of the chiefs, and they get large plots of land from them, and they're farming that land. I was just listening to that today, and it was just so heartrending because they're farming that land and using our people to farm for them and paying our people less than anything you can consider minimum wage, $3 a day, $3 a day to pick tea leaves for them and this kind of story. Now they could have been picking their own tea leaves, and we in the diaspora could have marketing that tea outside there, and they would have been getting solid cash back there. But it brings us to the part of the unity. They have done something psychologically to us that we need to break. We need to understand it's there. And why I do my teaching is connect the spiritual, because if you don't know something is there, let's say you see a certain pattern or behavior or deaths in the family, like very often when a child meets a certain age, a child dies at that age, kid dying at that age, you know that there's something that needs to be broken. Identify it first before you can break it. And so what we're saying is that now we see that we are not making the strides that need to be made. We have to change. So we have to identify the problem before we can solve it. And the problem is that on the continent, we've got a situation where the people have come in, the foreign nations have come in, and they have made us comfortable accepting substandard from them, low wages, they're making us to eat substandard food. Imagine you drinking Coca-Cola on the continent where we black people in the diaspora don't drink, because we know what is in there. But you carry that Coca-Cola onto the continent and they're loving Coca-Cola. And we don't drink it out here. We're longing for that juice that you got there fresh, that orange juice, that lime juice, that lemon juice that you don't pay attention to. We're longing for that and you're taking the drink and drinking. You see, so they have made us dependent by setting up those mental borders in our minds. I was listening to I think this girl, she's from Kenya, and she was doing a show in Mozambique, asking the people on the streets if they had to leave Mozambique, which African country they will choose. And everybody's choosing different African country they want to go to instead of Mozambique. That division that has been put into our minds, that what we have is not good enough, what the nations have is good, is when you come out in the West and you live there for a time and then you realize what you have done. And we're trying now to bring that home. Obviously, that's why they locked down the place so that we can go home, because we now need a passport, another passport to leave. Because now they know we can say we're going to abandon passports in Africa. Yeah. And so they create a new passport, the Corona passport. We need that now to pass, because they've already gone ahead of us. This is what this is about. They see where we are going. That's why they're calling our young people to these conferences and say, come tell France what you're thinking or what was worrying you. And when they hear what is worrying us, then they plan for what is worrying us. So we could throw away the passport because you can't travel on it anymore. You need the green passport now. You understand how they did it? They're watching us. They're planning for us because they know that their survival is on that continent. Spiritually, the land was given to our father Abraham. Yeah. And he said that the world will get blessings through Abraham. So everybody did a religion and made Abraham the father of the religion. So Islam got Abraham as their father. They call him Ibrahim. Then the Eastern Europeans, they got him as their father. They call him Abraham. The Christianity got him as their father. They call him Abraham. And we know him as Abraham because he lived on the continent in West Africa. And all of those religions exclude us. And if we want to join them, we got to convert to what is the form of it. And we have left the form that belonged to us. We're the only people on the continent, on the world, on this earth, that has a direct connection with the creator of heaven and earth. Because he made us. And sometimes when I'm teaching this, I'm forced to get the Bible up and show it, because if I don't do that, people say, oh, he's just talking in his head. And then when he talks from the Bible, this is exactly what I want to happen. When you quote the Bible now, people are going to say, oh, that's the white man's book. They know that this was going to happen because they stole your history. You can see yourself in the Bible. But is that blocking your screen, Sister Dr. Susan?
No, it's okay.
Yeah, I'm just bringing up my Bible. They stole your culture. You can see your culture in the Bible. You can see everything about yourself in this book that they call the Bible. But when you go into it now and you see the troubles that they've done with it, the easiest thing for you to do now is to reject this book. And that's what they're hoping at the end here. That you will now say, I don't want nothing to do with that book. But you are in that book. And that's why your name is not mentioned. For example, the word Bantu is never going to be in there. You're going to see replacement, Jews, Hebrews, Israelites. Replacement, Christian. But you, where the Bible was taking place, Jordan River in South Africa, Mount Ararat in South Africa, all the animals from the ark that they say landed in Turkey, so-called, is in Africa. How did they get there? Because the mountain is still there. And we have unearthed all of this proof. But now, how do we break down this mental barrier that is put up? They call it countries. There's a con. Continent, another con. All of these cons that they put around us, and we fall in line. They have made us to fall in line. Just imagine there's no border between South Africa and Botswana. There's nothing blocking you from crossing over, because it's just a landmass. But people are recognizing those borders and are using passports to cross. So don't come to my country. You're from South Africa because I'm in Botswana. I need to see your passport. Now those nations played us. Now when they got us accustomed to that, now they say, let's do the next one to them. Because they're now saying they want to abandon that passport. Let's bring in the COVID passport so you can't cross. You got to get the COVID now. And so when are we going to learn this unity that we are all from one father and 4 different mothers? That was allowed in our culture. That a man had these 4 women and he made these children. Now these children exist on this earth today. And these children, even if they do the DNA, they will see that all of them got E1B1. According to them same nations, E1B1A. All of them got the same blood group because all of them got Bantu inside. But yet now they want to fight for little countries that the Europeans give them to live in. Little playpens, little, what do you call them? Little slave holdings, little jail cells that they've put us in. We say, we want to stay there. I'm Ghanaian, I'm Nigerian, this and so. And then they say, we got them. Let's take them. So you hear about the metaverse and all of these things that is coming. So they're saying, you stay in your house and put on these glasses and then begin to buy property in the virtual world. We begin to spend virtual money. Don't go out so we could get that land. You stay indoors. They've been playing us all the time. They've break up the economy. So you have nothing now. And you now will put on the glasses and you will buy Gucci bag, virtual Gucci bag, virtual coins, virtual money, virtual everything. And then they will give you an allowance to stay home and do virtual while we take reality. Because that set of people out there cannot, without us, inherit the reality of this earth that is given to us, the kingdom of Embu, the universal kingdom of Embu. All belong to us. We are everywhere. But they devised a strategy, and this is the planning that they were doing in all the little groups and the Bilderbergs and all the meetings that they have it. They're planning how to keep these children that own this earth from even knowing that they own the earth. So they lock them down in countries. Now they're coming to lock them down mentally. Because they tried the mental lock. That's a mental lock, to put up a country and say this is the border, and they have no physical border, and people are not crossing over. My family is in part of in Botswana. Another part of the family is in South Africa because of the borders that they draw. And we're continuing to keep those borders up. Now when we're coming to the place to say, yeah, we're going to get rid of these borders, now they say to us, oh, no, we don't want you on the earth anymore. You need a green passport. That one is no longer good. You can use a passport that you got away because it can't move you from where you are anymore. They're dictating to us how we will live on this planet. You know what's happening? We're refusing to obey the instructions of these nations. We will not obey them. So what we're doing in Black Re-Education TV, we are dropping off Gentile names. I see you struggling to remember which version of my name. Just do Nkosi Zonad. Nkosi Zonad the first. Headley and Robert go behind. They're like the numbers on my passport. If I want to remember them, I got to pick the passport physically up and look for the number. My NIL number, I will never remember it. I go and pull the card to see where it is. That's how those Gentile names on us must be. We must now take back the names of our ancestors, and we don't need permission to do that. We don't need to go to France and to Paris and sit down with somebody and say, no, we want to take back our names. There's somewhere in where's the one? Amsterdam, where's it? The Dutchlands, where they're paying for the people that they brought in as slaves to take back the original names. Anybody that want to change the name back? We started doing that, and then we see this thing coming there. Then I hear Dr. Arikana saying the same thing. Let's change the name. Yeah, of course we're changing the names. This is part of this awakening. It is not just physical. It is a very spiritual process that is taking place right before place.
Yep.
And they're not talking about it, because if they talk about it, they're going to lend credence to what is happening. The DNA of the Bantu is higher than all the other nations. That's why they had to come out first and tell us, oh, they got high IQ. You see, because they know our DNA is. They've been studying our blood for a long time. And they've been studying the means in which they can break us. Not just physically, like when they take the land from us in the days of the nations taking over the land, but now they need to break us spiritually. And that spiritual bondage is to cut us off from our Creator. Because they know that he that formed us look like us. I'll show you a verse in this Bible that when you read it, they will want you to read it spiritually. I hope you can see my screen. Can you?
Um,
You can.
I think I have a delay on my side. That's why I don't see. But just go ahead. Go ahead, Elder.
Let me put it up and then tell me if you see it. I'll give it a couple of seconds while I find the passage. And it's very short, but
Okay. No problem. If you text it, I can also bring it to the screen.
all right. I can let me see. I'm gonna just copy it and text it. Yeah.
If you paste it, I could throw it out to the screen. If you
How
can,
do I get a paste for you to see?
in the chat.
All right. I'm just learning your system here now. Okay. Can I get to the chat? How do I get to the top of the chat?
You only see the chat. Can't you type something in it?
Message.
Look at it at the bottom.
All right. Let me just see if mine is kind of showing me that Suelo is in the force in the show there. Let me see. Yeah, I can see how to get to your chat. I see screen on this side.
Okay.
I don't know what is screen, and the camera is there, and then screen is here.
Read it out. Read it out.
Yeah, I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it, and then those who want to verify it could verify it from their Bibles.
Yeah.
From Revelation chapter 4. All right. And it says here, after this I looked and behold. Now this is the man that is named in the Swana language, Likanyani. Yeah. This is the man they call John. Likanyani. His name in the Swana, Bantu language name Setswana. This is his name. The man they call John, and Liyakanan in the fake language. And he's writing, he's saying, after this, Revelation chapter 4, verse 1. After this I looked, and behold, the door was open in heaven. And the first voice which I heard was as it were a trumpet talking with me, which said, come up hither, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter. And he said, immediately I was in the spirit. And behold, a throne was set in the heaven, and one sat on the throne. Once we hear heaven and somebody sitting on the throne, we know we're talking about the Creator. So Nini na Nini. And he describes what he saw. And he that sat was to look upon like a jasper. That word, jasper, and a sardine stone. He that sat upon that throne is to be looked upon like a jasper and a sardine stone. If those
on a sardine or an
sardine
on
or jasper and
okay.
The jasper and a sardine stone. If you Google those two stones, you're gonna get me and you, black and brown people. The one that sits on the throne look like the people he has made. He that sat on the throne is to be looked upon like a jasper and a sardine stone. I can't share the screen to show you the jasper, but if you Google jasper and sardine stone, you're going to see black and brown people. And within there, all the versions of it. Now, if he that created us look like us, who created some of these other people that are here? And then we get the feeling that everybody here was created by him. But he that sat on the throne is to be looked upon like me, Bantu, and you, Bantu. This is the book that we're reading, and the book that we want to discard, which they're hoping for. Because once we discard it, we just discard the evidence, because now the evidence in that book is judgment against them, that they know who he looked like. And when they knew who he looked like, they couldn't worship him because it's not the same Father. Our Father is different to their Father. So they set out to make us to follow them. That's what the religions were about. All the religions is to make us move away from that Father to follow them.
Mm.
And in so doing, we have entrapped ourselves because he is our father. And we need to follow our father. My sons will follow me. They carry my lineage. And so what they've done with us is we are following them. That's why they were bold enough to give us JC, even though they know JC is white. Because they know when we wake up, we're going to reject JC. Or we're going to try to make him black like us. And then the game is over. Because we lost our identity. And in losing our identity, we lost our unity. We lost our oneness. That oneness that makes us look out for each other. Where I grew up in my country, and that street, one street. And those who people know, old Caracaras, one street. If you get to the end of the street, is a cul-de-sac, is a river there, Caracara Creek. You can't get past it. You go in and turn back out when you want to come out. Everybody knew each person on the street. And everybody looked out for everybody on the street. And we couldn't be rude to none of our elders, because they're looking out for us. If my mother gone out, you say, Miss Mill, I'm going on the corner there, must keep your eye on them 2 boys there for me. Dare we do anything wrong? They will flog us before she get back. And then say,
Sure.
I just finished them there because they were doing so. And when we get home, we get a second set. So we did the right thing. Everybody looked for us. The whole village was raising us. Now, how do you cross into Cameroon, or 2 families in Cameroon began to kill each other? Mm. This is the division that the nations have put between us. That we no longer feel that blood connection with each other.
Oh, yeah.
The whole West Africa, way over to East Africa, all of those people are one family, but they don't know it because now the borders have been set up. Mm. And all of them borders are in the scriptures. And if those people go and look at my shows, you see, I've put the physical evidence and the proof. And the only people question me about these things is my fellow Bantu people, black people. Mm. There ain't no white man come in and say, show me this, because I give him the proof, and he knows proof when he sees it. So how do we break this cycle of violence? Because the nations are counting on us to not break it. They're counting that we will stay. We've got to dismantle all the systems that have been put up by Europeans. And it's not difficult. In our little group, we have remapped the whole curriculum in the subject areas that we want to look at. All the core subjects, we have remapped the whole curriculum. In that group, they're professors, they're doctors, they're there, and they're doing that. When we come to the medicine, we're dealing with the horrible medicine. And it is like Bible times. The Most High speaks very clearly to his people. People coming up and say, look, I want to put this together because it can do so. And these are professionals in the field of horrible medicine. Qualified people from the West, and now putting together the herbs. Just imagine when this comes to the continent, what's going to happen. Mm. That's why they're angry at this awakening. They know this awakening. And if they talk about it, everybody's going to wake up. So they keep it quiet. Don't notice it. Let it just go. And hope that it die off. It's not going to die, because the DNA of the Bantu man and woman, the children of the direct biological descendants of Abraham, has been awoken and cannot go back to sleep.
Ashe.
It never is going to go back. And if it's a few people that is going to make it back, it's going to happen. There are those that come up with the theory, yes, the whole earth belongs to us. We know that. But when we talk about that womb from which we have come, Africa, that's where the Most High said he's putting his name. That's the center of the earth. And everything will revolve around Africa. That's why he gave Abraham the 9.4 million square miles of the 11 million square miles of the continent. He gave him 9.4 million, and he put all of that where he seated there. The nations know that. That's why they got into South Africa and into Zimbabwe and made them apartheid states in the time when we were aware. But long before that, they were always coming on the continent. Always. 1884, we know about that. Was that the first time? No. They were there when the Messiah was murdered. And you know the thing about it? All of these things are being monitored from European weather stations, even up to today, and European maps. They know where Abraham lived. They know where Noah lived. There's a sister that comes out with Sankofa Pan-African history, and she
Mhm.
spoke about the Nok civilization. That's Noah. That's another way of saying Noah. Noah that they put Noaka. Noah. It's
Yeah.
monitored on a weather station
Mhm.
from Europe. They know where Noah lived. They know everything about us, and we are fighting. So when the man crosses the border, and he goes into Nigeria, or the Fulani, right,
Mhm.
sees the Hausa, or he sees the Ibu or the Yoruba, he hates him with a passion, because some of them got different religion, the things that divide religion. They got different culture, because one inherit culture from Islam, one get culture from Christianity. And so these are the things. All that the European has given us is what divide, not unite
Mm.
us. At the Tower of Babel, which is in the Sudan, right? Not in Iraq, right? The Tower of Babylon and Babel is in the Sudan. And when he confused the language because they were in rebellion, he fused the Bantu language. He confused them, again, another confused them, and he fused the Bantu languages. So if you know one, you can go to the other. That's what we had to do. We were sitting here saying, what is the name? We can understand how Esau became the first son. And then while we're sitting there, just as I'm talking to you here live on a slam show we were having, and then I said, but tell me in the Yoruba language, what is the name for the first child that opens the womb? And then it dawned on a Yoruba speaking Yoruba person sitting in the show that she knows that word. And the word is Akobi. Akobi is the first child that opens the womb, which became Jacobi, which became Jacob. You see? This is how
Mhm.
they vacillated the word, or genetically altered the word. That's how I say they genetically modify the word so you don't get to see it anymore. And then she said, Akobi. But that's the word we use. He is the firstborn. And we see in the Bible, the Most High call him, Exodus chapter 4, verse 22. He said, Jacobi is my firstborn. But how we thought that Esau was the firstborn? This is the conversation we are having. And so what we're dealing with here is a conspiracy of old that is designed to divide us. All
Mm.
that we receive from Europe is either to kill us, or to divide us, or to make us fight each other, make us hate each other. So the way to deal with this thing is get rid of everything that you get from Europe. Select what you want. Don't take anything wholesale. Country is not working because I got to cross this border to go to my family over there. Remove that border because my family been living there before the border. But no, there's a president that they say, no, that's the line under which I rule, and he wants to rule. He is not ruling, he is being ruled, because all he brings is from the West. And so this crisis that we have is deep, it's very spiritual, it's very organized. And for us to get out of this, we need to understand the strategy that the European man used. And his strategy is to divide us.
Elder, one question, please.
Mhm.
Um, if it is a spirituality, I mean, of course, we've been talking about this. We know that this is a spirituality fight. So isn't it also not, shouldn't it be the case that we need to work on our spirituality? Because I
Yeah,
think that's the only way that, because that's what originally we were giving, or we are giving, that was stolen. And so
yes.
we just go back. I'm sorry. And in terms of, like you say, the love, I'm sorry, the unity. I'm
It's all
sorry.
right. It's all right.
I just got choked. Yeah, in terms of the spirituality, and the spirituality we're talking about is this love, this Ubuntu, this Pan-Africanism. And so, shouldn't we beat them back at that point where we say our battle now is how we go back to our spirituality,
Yes.
how we just stop these distractions and just focus on our unity, focus on our love, focus on our things, and just do our things without even paying attention.
Hmm. You know, I did two recent shows. One is the owner of this body. I just said to you who formed this body. When the Likanyani, the Swana man, saw him, he looked like a jasper and a sardine stone.
Mm,
Exactly, right? And so he formed this body and he owns this body. Therefore, he expresses himself through this body. Now, you would understand why the nations try to get this body to do other expressions. For
mm,
example, homosexuality. That's why they bring that to this body, because that's not a normal thing to be expressed through this body that was formed by that creator. So they bring from their thing and put it into this body so that they can laugh at the creator, say, look what your body is expressing. Our bodies are not to express that. Our bodies is express, like you said, love and the kindness and the gentleness, care for the environment. Those are natural things that ooze out from our bodies because they're expressing the creator. Our bodies are the temple where in which he dwells, and he expresses himself through us. So they know to go and bring foreign things and cause them to be expressed. Look at their bodies. They express those things through their bodies, because that body is not his body. And so this spirituality has to be, when they came on the continent in the in 1884,
mm,
when they came in mass, they already had the Bible now, and they know where the Holy Land is, and they come on
mm,
the continent. The first things they set up is mission stations called the church. They were
mm.
diplomatic missions that you'll call an embassy today. They
Yeah.
set up the embassies, it was the church, to study this Bantu spirituality, to know why this creator has deposited that kind of DNA in them. This DNA was deposited, if I take you back to South Africa, between Johannesburg and Swaziland, the place they call Swaziland today, which is AI, and between AI and Bethel. They said this man was sleeping on a rock and he saw a ladder or father.
Mm,
And this ladder, which is the DNA ladder, yeah, a ladder
mhm,
like the DNA strand, extended from heaven to earth where he was sleeping, signifying. And he said he saw angels ascending and descending, transferring divine DNA into this Bantu. The transfer of divine DNA. And when he looked up, he said, this is a place, the Most High is in this place, and I didn't know it. This must be the house of the Most High. And when he lifted his eye, he saw him standing at the top of the ladder. He said, this is the gate to heaven. So they know we got DNA from heaven. We've got heavenly DNA. The only people that can boast of a direct connection with the Creator, Almighty Sunini Nanini. That's why we don't call him by Gentile names anymore. And then he said, take off the Gentile names from you. Imagine he's talking to us like that. You are now being in the diaspora, carrying these Gentile names. You are carrying another power over you. When you bear a Gentile name, you are bearing a power of the Gentile over you. That's why he named you. All the animals that Adam named is because Adam had domination over them. You dominate and you name. Get rid of those names. You're breaking the spirituality. So you find it, you break it, get rid of the name. Then you have to leave the land of these nations, albeit temporarily, because we are going to rule the entire earth. This earth will never see peace until the Bantu, the Prince of Peace, sits in his chair again. They know it. Until we rule, this earth is never going to have peace. But it's the process of us now waking up to that rulership. This is what we are struggling in. We can't come to the reality that we are kings. And so I was laughing. I think there was a sister on the show, and she was saying, "You guys need to be wearing your crowns." You remember that?
yes.
Everybody was
Yes.
laughing there, saying, "Look at this! Look at this! If they only know what they're doing." They're
Yes.
going to wear a crown. Now, see you sitting down in your living room with a crown on your head, and then your husband comes in. When you look at that queen, you think you're going to talk to her like how them people on the road want him to behave towards a black woman. He's not going to call her the B word because now he's watching a lady sitting there with her crown. And he comes in sitting next to you with his crown. You're going to respect him. That's where the problem has come. They have generated so much disrespect between the black family, between
Mm.
the black children, between the
Ashe.
black people. And
Mm.
so that thing is now playing out, just living out in us. And that's what we need to break.
Mm.
We need to throw off everything that we were given, their name, their food, their culture, their medicine, everything, the education system. And then we are going to evolve back into the beings that we were because he speaks to us. We are his children. Then we will love. We can see oozing out from us is him. He is the one that loves, and love will come through us, and
Mm.
peace will come through us. There is no other way of peace coming to this earth. Those children can't bring peace to this earth. Look at them. They only like war. They generate the wars in Africa and around the world. They generate the crisis that we are in today. They generate the AIDS crisis. They generate the Ebola crisis. They generate all the crisis because they need to keep us always on our P's and our Q's, never getting a chance to sit down and celebrate the samba. Do nothing. Just sit down and let the presence of he that owns this body flow through this body, speak through
Ashe.
this body. They
Mm.
don't want that. So they keep us busy. Oh, you got to go to this traffic somebody concert. And then the next thing you know, you get an injection up there. You need to go to this one day. And we got to lock down again. We got to spread. We got a new variant. Creating the variant. So you can do what you need to do. Now, this is the problem we have. And we need to extract ourselves from this. Pull ourselves back from this. And if it means, Dr. Susan, that we have to take our children out of school for 2 years without sending them to school, nothing is going to happen to our children. Nothing. Remember, these guys drop out of school and they fly an airplane and they own half of the world they own now. And they never went to the same school that they want us to go to. Because when they damage our children, you see, us, they know us. We are going to be the rebels. We are the one fighting. But you see, the eyes is on those little ones that we got there to protect. The eyes is on our children. That's why the scripture tells us, teach these things to the children so that they can come up and know. Train them up in the way they should go. When they get old, they will not depart because we ain't departing. We're fighting now. And they say, don't let them fight. They can only be here for 70, 80 years and they will die. And let's see if we can kill them before as possible, if possible. But those little ones, we're going to get them into a virtual world. We're going to get them onto that mobile phone. We're going to get them playing all the games that we want them to play. And they will ignore coming out of the room.
Mm.
They will not go touch nature because we don't want them in nature. We
Mm.
want the nature for ourselves and our children. You tell you that these people that are doing these things, you think their children involved in that kind of stuff? No, they're teaching their children how to be kings over us. While we're killing our babies. While we're going into school and shooting children. And shedding the blood. Those people, like I say about Christmas, when we eating the turkey on the table that we buy from them, they're counting, they spread out our money that they just finished collecting on their table and they're counting the money on the Christmas table when we eating the turkey. And until we break that cycle and understand that the future of our children is in our own hand. And you know what is dangerous about this whole thing? The Most High will have to, like Brother Bob say, many more will have to suffer and many more will have to die. Because he is going to do what he has to do anyhow. This awakening cannot stop. And if he's going to do it to the 144,000, when I see that number, I say, that is not right. We are billions. Only 144,000. I mean, that's not what it really means. But if he's got to take a small company to do what he has to do, he's going to do that. And many more might have to suffer and many more might have to die. Because we are bent on rebelling against his ways. Bent on rebelling against each other. What will make me fight with my brother? You see, Shaka Zulu, that come from Zululand, in the lineage of Naphtali, that the Boers change up from, it was Issachar, Zulu, Naphtali, land of Naphtali became land of, under the Boers, Natali, under the British, Natal. Vacillation. Genetically changed the name from the biblical to, and then you don't know it anymore. What he did when they didn't like him anymore as the leader, the brother, he said, I can't fight with you because you're my brother. You can do what you want. And he walked away. And his brother, they said, stab him in the back. It's the brother that stabbed in the back. He was inspired by Europeans, thinking that he's going to have an easy life with the Europeans. This is what they did. This is what they did in the Arab lands. They made the two Arabs to fight against each other. The two Muslims, Shia and Sunni, fight against each other. When they finished fighting, they came in and finished them off.
Mm.
And then now they come to the continent and they're now doing what they used to do. Said, this is a piece of cake. Let's do this one last. We're going to make this one fight against that one. Coup in Mali. And then somebody said, ooh, they succeeded a coup. Let's do a coup in Togo. And they said, oh, they get through. Let's do another coup over there because it's working. They're fomenting this evil between us because they know there is that division, there is that hatred, and we need to break it. And it's a spiritual bondage that needs to be broken. And it's broken. When you start breaking it, you have to throw off some physical things. Though this weapon is not carnal, we're fighting a spiritual battle. But when you finish the prayers, this you've got to act. I am not the kind that say, let's pray whole day and night. No, I want to pray 1 hour and I want to do something for the next 23 hours. That's how I want to do it. That's how it has to be. Let us pray and then look for the burden and throw it off. If it's a name, if it is another family member, sit down. Let's sit down and iron this thing out. Let's not fight. We don't need to fight. Let's fight another time. No, not today. Today is a battle. I was listening to Sister Gina. She had a show. I was on the show there, chatting with them, popping in little clips from time to time. And she's saying, we can't fight now. She's from Haiti. She said, we can't fight. When the time for us to fight comes, we'll fight. But now we got one common enemy. And until we see that common enemy, we will not be able to defeat him. If we see our brother and sister as the enemy, then we will fight against each other. And while we're fighting, the nations are waiting patiently for the fight to finish. And then they will fight with us because they don't like us anyhow.
Mm.
And so we have the problem on our hands. How are we going to approach it? We've been trying our best in Black Re-Education TV, and we've been getting rid of those names. And so you see when they come in the chat room, you see them names, all of them Bantu names turn up there. I'm struggling to keep up with the names. I can't even pronounce some of them. So we had a brother from South Africa. He was announcing the names for us because we have designed the ancestral restoration name certification, and you can get your name changed. We'll send the list. We got a list of 500, list of 200 different Yoruba names, Setswana names, Zulu names, Xhosa names, Tonga names, all kind of names. You choose. This is your time to get a chance to choose. These ones you get from your parents who got it from the slave master. Like my name, Robert, came from my father, and then my son got the same name going down. So all of these got to change now and take back on the identity. And name is very important. It's an identity. You're breaking the cycle. And then you come back now to your continent, in your own home, among your own people. Re-establish the chieftaincies. This thing is not going to work with democracy. Democracy is mob rule. A small group, clique, get to rule. It's only going to rule when the chiefs are taking charge again. It was interesting looking at some of the land owned by the chiefs. Some of the countries. And I'm surprised to see the chiefs own 94% in some countries. 94%. The only land that they hold is in the town. You know, like the capital city. But the rest of the land, they own that land. That's important. Land, us and land, we have to connect with land. We come from land. Without land, we are no people. I love Nelson Mandela. I love the patience that he exercised. But there is more. That's why I love Robert Mugabe too. because he understood that you can't be a man and don't own land. My first president used to say, you're not a man until you feed, clothe, and house yourself. So if you don't have land, which is a vehicle for owning everything else, if you're going to fight for land, and you see places like Padan, which is a Cameroon in the Bible, Padan. No, the land is enough for everybody to live on, right? But somebody want to be president and want to rule over everybody else. That's why some people say, let's cut up back the land in pieces, because you got a big parcel and you can't rule it. Is that the answer? I don't know. But what I think could happen is that, like Nigeria, for example, Nigeria got how many different ethnic groups in Nigeria? How do you rule Nigeria with all of them ethnic groups? These people used to have their little enclave that they're ruling, and you want to be president over all of them. You can't amalgamate all of these cultures under your head. You don't even have this ability to do. These people got to be able to self-rule, and therefore you can have a president. You can have a president of Africa, one. But the people now need to be self-ruling and responsible for their own development, and all resources is coming from them. And then and then they find systems of like federations, and they get to rule and lead the people. Because you can't be a Hausa president and you looking after only Hausas. It can't work. And so we've got to dismantle the European system. As we pray 1 hour, the next 23 hours is to dismantle that European system. If we don't do that, they know it. They've sown that seed. The Bible says in the New Testament, people don't like it, but I love it because I can see what the Messiah was teaching. He said, did we not sow good seed in the field? And the disciples said, but where these tares come from? And he said, an enemy sowed the tare among the wheat. That's what the European nations did. They sowed that tare, that division, two different crops in the field, but you only put the one, and so you're looking for the crop that you plant. But yeah, tare is growing there. They said, let's go and pull it out. He said, no, if you pull that, you might pull up the wheat as well. Wait, I'm going to get rid of them. We, at this time of the harvest, now we have got the sickle. We are able to do this. We're able to dismantle this system. Why is France still holding our money? Why is Europe still telling us which car must come from which European country to drive on the right side of Africa? If you want a car on the right side of Africa, it got to come from Britain or some place that is doing right-hand making cars. And then you want to drive on the left side of Africa, you get it from Germany. Some place driving. Break that out. Get rid of it. Why you come into a European, an African president, and you come to give your speech, and you're speaking English? I have no choice. I can only speak English. I don't know nothing else. They beat it out of my ancestors. I just remember my mother talking frequently about Diomi. And the word, as a young man, young boy, left in my head. I said, what are you doing? Who's Diomi? When I grew up, I know about Diomi. I see the land now. Now that I'm doing all of this research, I said, but why was she talking about this all the time? She came from Sierra Leone. Not she, her ancestors. But that thing is in the family that we know it. We know that. And so, if it wasn't there, we have no connection. We will, everybody else, I know some connections. But we can't allow Europeans to continue to lead our education system. Tell us what we should teach our children. Tell us when the sun is rising. So we have abandoned that. You see, in Black Re-Education TV, you know what we do, Dr. Tata? Every Samba or Sabbath or Sabbata, not done double B that those nations created. This is a name of a person. Sabbath is the name of a person, right? And it's from the continent. Every time that time comes around, we face South Africa, the South. When we're going to blow the trumpet, we blow and we face South Africa. When we pray in the direction of South Africa because we know where Jerusalem is. We don't need Europeans to tell us anymore. They have lied to us in the books. And so we now could extract and I said, that's why we had to learn English. We know it. so we can go back and see what they did. And so we are extracting all the lies that they have told. We've got to change the education system. We've got to change the medical system. We've got to change the financial system. And that's why I like the kingdom of Embu, because when you got your own money backed by gold and backed by the sunshine, the responsibility for the value of that money is moved from you to the creator. That is spirituality. So when the Lumi takes shape, all of these fake currency they're putting in the cloud, there's a rapture we're talking about there. That's the rapture they were talking about. And everybody can fly up into the cloud. Put on your glasses, you're gone up to the cloud. I sure that you saved something on the cloud, Dr. Suzanne. You're all saving on the cloud. Who owns that cloud? We don't know. We actually taking all that we know and give it to the cloud. Cuckoo land. We want to go to heaven. Cuckoo land. That's where they direct us and say, hey, he says, the kingdom is coming here. All the blessings, all the wealth, all that you need to live in the body that you have is here until I'm ready to change it. But now, Europeans have tricked us. They who enslave us become our savior. I was watching them at Afghanistan. You know, Sunini gave me these little eyes to see these little things. That the same people that went to Afghanistan and was bombing in Afghanistan is now a plane flying out from Afghanistan. And all them Afghanis hooking on to the plane to fly from the bottom of the plane. The same people who are dropping bombs in Afghanistan now proclaim themselves as the savior of Afghanistan. That's what happened to us. They who murdered the Bantu Messiah, the black man that was walking in Cape Town, then turn around and give us a story that they are now our savior. And they give us JC. And we say, okay. If you see how people fight here to say, no, JC is the real one. Yeah, the virgin birth is real. How do you get to do that to a mind? How do you get to tell a mind that a woman didn't know a man and she gave birth in our time? We know that you have to sleep with your wife. And let me use a Bantu language. You have to zeka your wife. Then she can become pregnant. How did she? And then they say, oh, Mary said, how is it possible and seeing that I know not a man? It's not possible. It's not, it never happened. It never happened. And we believed the spooky stories. This is what they did to this man. They were grooming this man. It's a psychological operation. They were grooming this man. Now they know because of the activation of his DNA, it can't happen anymore. This mind is not going back to sleep. And many more like me will come. Many more like Rotondo will come. Many more. They're coming. They're coming. They're messiahs. They're all coming. You can't stop them anymore. So what they have decided to do is, you see that ladder was extending to earth from heaven. When Jacob received the divine DNA, they said the only way now, let's cut the ladder in half. Cut the rungs down, and we have part A and part B. Let's put aside part B. Let's bring in our part B and merge it. It's called RNA. This is the psychology you're using. They bring in an RNA now and connect it and trick our DNA to say this and this DNA and this one over here is you. Live, you die. Different DNA. Now, we got to have our own scientists, our own medical people, our own educators, and we that suffered in the West, we got reparations, not just money. We've got the skills. We know the story. We saw what is done. We know how to make the curriculum. We know how to change it and adapt it to whatever you want. We know how to do the monetary system. There is nothing. No, you can see it in our boys. Look at and girls. There was a generator in Nigeria that was running on urine. And a couple of girls in the school did the science and extracted what should come out from the urine and had the generator running on urine on the continent, Nigeria. There's a little boy that picked up pieces from the trash and he made a radio and he had it in a plastic bottle, a radio. This is what we are able to do. He speaks to this mind. What you're reading in the Bible is real. He was speaking to these prophets, and they were talking to our ancestors, but our ancestors weren't listening. Are we going to go through that again? 400 years. He is on time at the 400 years. If you notice, as soon as 2019 came, in 2018, Trump was the president of America then. He signed H.R. 4212, 8th of January 2018, to celebrate the arrival of the fake name that they give to us, African Americans. Bantu, that's what they're celebrating. But he used a name that the Bantu don't know. When you say Bantu, say, no, I'm not no Bantu, I'm not no African, I'm not no African. Did you see any ship parked in the Mediterranean Sea collecting slaves? Did you not see them on the coast of West Africa? That's where the kingdom is. They took them from the kingdom. They took the holy people from the holy land. And they messed our minds. And so they're celebrating. 2019, we see Corona. Because the next year was 2020. They knew that is coming. They planned it. They knew it's coming. 2020 is what he told Abraham in Genesis chapter 15. 400 years. My son called me. He said, Dad, did you notice? So what is that? He said multiply 20 by 20. It says 400. The thing is in the DNA. This thing to wake up is in the DNA. As soon as it starts connecting, that's why he said to Ezekiel, prophesy to them dry bones. That's who we are, dry bones. And as he began to prophesy, the bone began to connect to the bones. And they stood up. And when they stood up, he said, that is a whole army of the children of the Bantu. They changed the name and put Israel. So you don't get to connect. Everything has been done to disconnect us. You know what we're doing? We are reconnecting. We are the children of Abraham. We are the Bantu people. We are the people that's supposed to be ruling. We are the head and not the tail. And if it's going to take just a few of us, he will work with us. I urge every single Bantu man and woman, whether you check your DNA or not, you don't even have to check it. You know, it's in your spirit. You know you're Bantu. You know you're from the continent. I know there's a move on in places like America to say, oh, we were here before the Native Americans. We were here before the Native Chinese and all of this conversation. That's fine. Or where we came from. Who gave birth to us? He that gave birth to us look like us. And he sits on the throne. And all the nations copy over this book. They translated the Bantu culture in. And so now the book is judging them. But the problem is us. We are not moving from where we were. We're still depending on these nations for permission. We're going to climate summit. They know that they've messed up the earth. All the industries are in the West and in China. China is absent. Russia is absent, but they're present in Africa. You think they care? You think they don't know that China and Russia is present in Africa and not at the conference? They have no interest in what they talk. It's the talk shop. And to get us to feel that they want to do something and that we need to work with them. How do you start working with your enemy to correct your problems that your enemy created? You have to divorce yourself from your enemy. That's what Msindisi was doing. Love not the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. He's saying it very clearly. You can't love the man that is enslaving you. He comes on your continent. He uses your land. Look, China was trying to fit into a 20-foot container a mighty gemstone. Everybody saw it. Did China leave the continent? Did that stone stay on the continent? No, it still went to China. So no, let it go. We're going to test it. Let it carry and test it. Bring whatever you want from there and test it here. It's not leaving here. Would they want us back on the continent? No, they don't want us there. And so now they're working hard and overtime on the minds of those our brothers and sisters on the continent to say, okay, you don't create the condition, let them have to satisfy the same requirements. I was talking with a foreign secretary from an African country recently. And I was saying to her, you can't do us like you do the Chinese and the European. Those people got their money. You see, you can't expect us to have this money to show you before we could come in to do business or to live. We coming to stay. We're not coming to go anywhere. You don't remember that we left a long time ago? You don't remember the prodigal son? Because you stayed at home. Now you forgot us. You're treating us like the Asian that come, like the Chinese that come, like the European that come. You want us to pay that same money that you're paying. You have to have a different system for us. Say, but those are because the laws that control us even to today still come from Westminster. The constitution that controls us today still come from Westminster. Where is the African constitution? Ubuntu. When is that one going to be implemented? That's what we want to do. We want to implement the Ubuntu. You can't exist without me, and you know that. Therefore, you will love me. If you love me, he said, I will send the Father, and he will comfort you. Let's be one. He said, I and the Father in me, and you in me. That's what he's saying. Oneness. That's what we need. This is not religion. At Black Re-Education TV, we don't deal with no religion. If you feel that you want to do religion, don't come there. We don't got no time with religion. We're breaking down all them religious lies. That's why I teach about it, so people will know that those things are lies. And we don't need to follow lies, but we follow the truth. We are one people, one Father, Jacobi. And he made us. How then could we now hate ourselves? I've got these children, 9 sons and 2 daughters. And sure, it's not one mother. How does my son begins hating his brother? I don't like him. You don't like him, then you don't like me, because I made him. And vice versa, you can't do that. And until we come to that place of realizing that oneness between us, who we are as a people, we're not going to make it. And the Europeans are counting on this. I tell you, they're sitting patiently waiting for us to fight each other. And then they come and take up the spoils. I study what they did in South Africa. They put the closer to fight with the Zulu. And when they finish, they come and do the mapping up. Say, all right, good fight, very nice. All of you sit down. We're going to sit over you. You're subjected to us. You have no rights, no land. And then everybody want to beat up Brother Robert when he got the vision. I said, I see what you want to do. You want to disconnect us from this land. This is our father's land. And we're taking it back. And until we take back that land from those nations and stop selling land to Asians, stop selling land to Chinese. Chinese cannot own the Holy Land. The Holy Land is for the holy people. Let the people come home. Open all the gates. Make a system where, set up a system where, if you're in the diaspora and you want to come home, come home. Just come home.
Elder, just to emphasize on what you said. We are the children of their Bantu land. And we have said this here, we've been speaking about it time and time. You just made a very good point. What I want to emphasize is the moment we keep adhering to those rules, we're always going to play with that rule and we stay with them. That's why I want to borrow the theory that King Maponga said, even King Bongane. You go on the continent, it is yours.
Yes.
You're not showing no passport, no citizen to anybody. It is your land, your father's land, your mother's land. Nothing is going to happen. At some point in time, until we start really reclaiming Because at this point we just always talking about, yes, let's love one another, let's unite, fine, but at some point in time we have to move ahead and reclaim, just like you said, like the word is saying, when are we going to start reclaiming the right? And one of it is this idea of we the diaspora going back and begging for citizen on the continent. This is the most insane thing that we should even think about. It is
Yeah.
not thinkable. It is not negotiable. I'm talking this now between us. Whether those kings, we made it very clear to King Mbongane, and we made it very clear to those kingdoms. It is unacceptable. Yes, in the West, where we are in the diaspora, we are foreigners. It's a fact. Even though we're so brainwashed that when they remind us that we are Africans, we get annoyed even. I mean, like we're really on that edge where we're fighting to be slaves. We're begging to be. We're even fighting when they tell us, no, you don't have to be. We say, no, we want to be. I
Yeah.
want to keep it. So, but the reversal, like you're saying, we get our power. And when you get our power, it gets to a point where you claim the kingdom. You
Yes.
claim it. You claim your spot on it. And nobody's going to negotiate any citizenship or asking for any land. You're doing the right thing, Elder Rodney. You call the kings and said, your sons and daughters are there. Where are they going to be staying? I don't have any problem with that. They are already home.
Yeah.
Look for a place where they're going to stay. That is the way we have to position. That
Yeah.
is the way we have to start claiming and even taking our place. We're not going to sit and negotiate and go, oh, we're going from this office to this president to rob soldiers to get citizenship. No.
No. It's just outrageous that they're doing this thing to us up to this day. And oh, the day of return. If we don't come into the format that they want, like bring 185,000 to buy a house in Ghana. If we don't come into that format, then nobody's paying attention to us. It must not be like that. There are people sitting out there that got skills and resources that will benefit this continent. And so what we're doing in Black Way Education TV, we say, we're coming home. Give us a family. Give us one family. We want to be attached to that family. And that family is our family. Whatever we bring, we sharing with that family and we rise together. This is our continent. You
It is.
accept that is ours.
It is. I'm so sorry, Elder, for cutting you. I
Mhm.
just talked with you last week and I told you we're creating the Africa We Want global platform.
Yeah.
This Africa We Want global platform, it's already ready, but we're just testing because we also have an app on it. And this app is our Unity app. All right. But what we want, whether the organizations on the continent or in the diaspora have to register, I mean, it's it's not a matter of just put in your membership that we're groupings because we need the groups like you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because at the time we have this structure, we're not hiding. People say, oh no, you don't share your information online on this and that. I say, wait a minute, it's over. There is no time even when we're going to sit here and not say things that we have to say
No, we
because
don't do
we're
it.
afraid, because we're scared. Scared of who? There's no
Mm.
time. Time for fear is over. Right
Yeah.
now, we are already past that level where it is claiming and we're taking our territory, we're taking our right. I'm not even talking about the Europeans. The Europeans are busy doing what they're doing, but I'm talking about those kings and those us that even are against us. No, it's not going to be funny. So the teaching with our curriculums and even our young people on the continent, of course, we're also saying we have to start teaching Pan-Africanism from A to Z, from
Yes.
A to Z. Or if you and we are teaching you and giving you a certificate, we certify you. And so, because it's not possible that we'll be meeting face to face, we developed this conferencing app where we're going to start teaching our. We see a lot of people coming, even in the groups, in WhatsApp groups, they just confused doing other things. No, we have to reset the continent.
Yes.
And I think you are doing exactly that. That numbers that are going there, it is not each one that steps is like I said it, even on the global, the Africa We Want global, when you arrive the continent, call us, you're gonna get a family. You're not paying a dime. That family is it is your own family. Choose which family you want to belong to. It is your right in the
Yeah.
West.
And we coming in to work with that family. That's like we call it an adoption embracement kind of arrangement. And as we rise, we're teaching, passing on those skills that we have. So let's say I come to the continent and I don't have a house, and so I'm living with this family, and so I bring in some economic venture. I might bring in a machine that makes oil. I might bring in a machine that makes brick or makes something, some economic venture. I bring it, yeah. So this family and I will work together. So I bring in the technology to do fisheries, and so we're gonna raise, cultivate our own fish. And that family working with me now, they're gonna earn from this. I'm gonna build a house, but they're living in a house that is not like my house. No, I'm gonna show them how to manage the money so that they can build the same house that I'm building for myself. So we rise together. This is what we're doing. So we got these 13 groups, and this is what they're looking at. Every aspect of making life comfortable: agriculture, herbalism. We have our own elders council. We've got traveling and tourism, education, construction, mining, or technology, culture, everything. We've got language, because we got to learn the language. All of these things we have built up. So the people are involved and engaged in these groups at the moment. We've got people on the continent right now, and those people are working on the continent. They're working there, volunteering their services with groups. And they go out and they come back and they share the information, what we need to do. And they're unearthing so much. They're unearthing lots of waste as well. Like today we say there was so much bananas on the continent that needs to get off or get to another country. The system to bottle and to can, somebody just bring home one of that and we start canning the bananas and canning the pears or the avocados or whatever it is, put them in cans or bottles so that their life could be extended and move to other parts of the continent. There is life on the continent.
It's the one thing I come from the continent. Maybe that's the reason why I agitate some, I feel like exploding, because it's not just there is life on the continent. Like you say, Tsunami Nani gave us everything from under the soil to on the soil to in the air to above the sky. Everything
in the water,
everything we have. Okay. But because they don't understand, and that's the trick, and that's, I think, where we should focus on, from what I know, because we don't see what is under, because they have the technology. We don't even need it. Even when China was struggling to carry that stone, did you see people even bother and say, what was that? We know it's a stone, take it for whatever. But each time you take one, they're going to multiply. That's how they create. So maybe look at Congo, Congo for how many years today, how many 100 years? But every day, even when the rain falls, it washes away gold. There is no continent, like you say in the Bible, that was said, all the streets were paved with gold. Show me that paradise. It is Africa. Show me that country. It is Ghana. All the streets are paved with gold. Show me that country where they say people live together with animals and the same. No continent does that. It is Africa. We live together with our 4 foot in the house. Nobody will have to cage someone or to wear a diaper or give a milk. It's just there. But now opening these eyes, like you're saying, transcending all these things, the talent. If they say 70% unemployed, then I say 70% talent that we need to work on and get it to our advantage. And thank God, they are this, that they keep saying the poor that are jobless. Then I say, oh, fine. At least we have a number that is still untouched. They are growth, and so we can start working with them. So everything that they say is a negativity, for us should be an opportunity. Our youth, when they say our youth are jobless, and I say, oh, Yahweh, thank you so much. Because imagine if they had to baby feed them like they're doing to us, we're going to stay that stuck and suck that milk forever and ever. So the 70% is what we're looking to start working with, because I told them, you don't need jobs. You need to create. You don't need to wait and work for anybody for all your life and become a slave. And that's the freedom, people. that they're changing the narratives and telling you, oh, they're the jobless, oh, they're the this, but nobody's going there to pay their bills or give them money or anything. And they survive and produce and buy from you. It's a
Yeah,
liar.
yeah. And so this is the plight of our people. How do we get? And I know that this message is not getting into the village yet. And as soon as we get into those places that we're putting our foot into, this message will get to the village. And I like the continent for that one thing. That is just a drum and the message. Once one village benefit from what we're talking about here, it's going to spread. It multiplies. That's the problem with the continent. That's what they know. That's why when they do coup, then you see another one practice the same thing. So in the same way, when we do the positive, they're going to pick up the positive. There's a man there in one of the countries. I don't want to call the names out like that, but he's in this country producing honey, pure organic honey. He can't get no money for that honey. Why is he not? That's an area that we're going into right away because we can market that honey. He might just be doing it because he wants to sweeten a cup of tea. But
We
hotels want that honey.
Elder, we would have enough, not even only to market, just to enjoy
Yeah,
and eat for ourselves, feed ourselves, our children, and let them sit here and be singing the song of 90% hunger, but we are getting the organic and then they will come back and we're getting the illnesses. Yes, but that's what we're going to do. So I think the revolution that you're bringing, I love it. And I'm supporting every aspect of it in any way that we can support. Why, Elder? Because you did not go to the other systems. That's also another big opportunity that we have the Western system, we have our traditional systems. That's the diversity that we have everything. We have even the religion that we're running after. We have it. We own these things
yes,
because we know them. It is easy for us to beat them at their own game. So
yes,
that's even just no reason that we bother ourselves and say, oh, it's religion that has done this. Is we have it. Languages multiple. We speak French. We speak your French, your Portuguese. We speak your Turkish. We speak your everything, and we still speak our own. Right.
yeah,
So these are all advantages that we're saying we should stop this distraction of this. Now, why I'm using your model? I'm so sorry. I just want to round
it's
up with this
okay.
before I give you the floor. Why I'm using your model, and I think your model is very important, is because now, even Dr. Arikana said it one time. When we see the Chinese go to our local chiefs, right, and they get land and give them subventions, that is actually the people we should be competing. When I just want to intentionally use the word competing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because now it is our place to go back and say, you know what, in my house, no way. But what we do most of the time, even the leadership is like, oh, look at you, pointing finger at them. Look at that. No, we have to be on the line to say, you know what, these chiefs, they told us we had these meetings with them and we questioned. And I'm like, what is going on? How did it happen? Tell us how it happened. Because in the beginning, we rubbished the whole thing with Maponga and all that. But at the beginning, in the end, we had to seek consultation and find out, because that's how you get the knowledge. How did they go? What tactics did they use? What all them? How was the negotiation? And so when we research on all this, we found out that then I asked those kids, if your children are coming back, you're going to do the same thing. If we're coming back, I need my own land. I need my own. And so I think it is that kind of spirit. The 40 that
yeah,
are there, each one be going, there will be no space for them. And when
yeah.
we hold them and say, Father, we are here now, because we know who is that. Is a stranger. He has to prove everything. How does it even become part of the kingdom and even being enthroned and made a chief? How?
Mm. Mm.
So go
But you
ahead.
see, what is good about now is that there are some chiefs that understand what is happening and what needs to happen. But there are others that are blinded still by the European behavior of over them a long time. Those ones, you see, we're going to work with those chiefs that understand that we're coming home, and we're coming home to stay, and we're coming home to bring the reparations that we have received. And we're going to work with those chiefs. And to them, I want to say thanks, because they have made openings for us. They've made openings for us. And now we can come in and we can be a part of communities. We can fix water systems. We can fix solar systems. We can do all of these things. And the local people will benefit from what us coming home is doing. We're not going to no town. We're not going to go Dar es Salaam and Lusaka and Cape Town. We want to be right at the grassroots, where the language is spoken and the culture is exhibited, so we can get back that culture. When you see us 10 years from now, you will not know, because we'll be speaking the language, we'll be living the culture, and they will be experiencing the transfer that we have brought. That's what we are about. And so it's important that the chiefs continue to open up to us, and we do all the countries. We'll create a model in the location we're going to be in. We're going to create that model, and that model could be replicated to all the other countries. So if you don't have millions, you don't need it. All you need is to get in contact, so we can advise you to get you connected with one family, get you connected with one venture. And once you could master that venture there, you will sustain your life and the life of the family that has adopted you. And this is what we are looking at in the times in which we're living. And we're going to change the whole education system. The continent education is wrong. I've worked in it before. I've lived in Botswana and worked in the system. And so though it's genuine, they genuinely think it works, but it's not going to work. That's why the youths are saying we are unemployed. We come to the whole system and we are unemployed. We don't have work because you have not taught them how to create work. In the West here, they teach the children how to make products, how to create products, how to modify products, how to copyright them. And that's what we're doing. We're starting our small way, and we're copywriting all the inventions and everything that we're doing. We're copywriting them on the continent. We're not sending them to any Europe to copyright. We're copywriting them in our own facilities. That's what we're doing. And so that the curriculum that we've run, that the inventions that we create, it will be owned by us in the land.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I want to bring an attention to something. I mean, before we round up this conversation, I'm just happy that you're here. I have been having a couple of feedbacks on the conversation to most of you that watched that conversation that Rutendo did at this last weekend. We had a lot of heated debate, and brothers and sisters out there saying, you know, it wasn't a right thing for Rutendo to take up that side of diversity and sexuality, like he understands it. But I want to make a point clear, because I said I was coming live today to address that issue. And this is, I like it because you said something, and that's why I'm happy that you're here and we're on this topic of empowerment of our people, to know that there's going to come tricks in so many ways. And we should also be aware of that. Just like you said, we start learning the mistakes that probably even our ancestors did, or even our predecessors did, that we should not do, or we ourselves are still doing it. If we're talking about that love and unity, it means when I know you, you know me, that trust is forever.
Yeah.
And so if there is something that I hear or I see you do, then I know something is wrong somewhere.
Yeah.
So I'm not just going to lie, because that's the biggest trick. Each leader that has always come up, in the beginning, we are always shouting, oh, yes, this is the person. But the moment they make a mistake, or they go astray, or they give another opinion, we are so quick to bash on it and say, I'm not saying that the statement that Rutendo said was wrong or was right. But I think most of you that watched that conversation, because it was not a live conversation, it was a rebroadcast. When he was talking about the situation of this artist that wanted to stage a concert and was refused entry into Zimbabwe, and because this artist was a bisexual or homosexual or whatever, I just hate calling some of these terms. I just don't even want to pronounce them on the Pan-African Daily. All right, but you just understand when I say it, or if you don't, you can watch the video again. It's on it. So Rutendo wanted to make a disclaimer and said the point of his argument or the point of his conversation was not going to be on the personality of this brother or sister, whatever he is now. His position was on the essence to know that this brother actually, after being refused, whatever, because of his, I don't know, his sexual culture, not to get into Zimbabwe, then abuse Zimbabwe and say, keep your poverty money. Whereas he was going to do a concert, he was going to do a show. And so, because they refused that he's not coming because that culture, we don't tolerate homosexuals and stuff, so, or LGBTQ, whatever. And then it became an offense. So, Rutendo came to address that situation. When Rutendo said, I don't have anything against them, I think that was when the problem was, when he said, I don't have anything against the way people want to live their life or their sexuality or whatever. But that is not the focus, because the focus was when something happens, we don't address the situation. We get distracted and begin to talk on personality. So I know for the past 3 days, I got a lot of feedback. I got texts, and even the comments are still going on today that a lot of people saying Rutendo shouldn't have taken that position to say, I don't have anything against this kind of culture, because that is not acceptable. It should not be acceptable. It will not be acceptable in the new Africa. And so I want to apologize on his behalf, because I reached out also to him. He read all your comments, and he truly is apologizing that actually that is not what he intended to say, but he was addressing, a mindset that was already on that topic, and he wanted them to go to the facts and not the distraction on who this person is, but what he actually said that caused that problem. So please, Brother Rutende is going to be with us. Just he could not be here, because when I spoke and I told him, look, go back to your comments, because this is even not the language that we even would want to use on any of our communications. Let's just leave it where it belongs. We're not touching anything about that. So I think I shared this with Elder Headley, and like, what is it that, we should stay in unity, stay focused, but also be aware that if Brother Robert, I'm sorry, as Nkosi, your name?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if there is a mistake, then you should be able to caution me and say, any, what I saw, I think there is something. Because most of the time, when we go astray, particularly when they are being targeted and they're the ones standing up, and so when they fall, we shouldn't allow them to fall. We should correct with love. We should never, ever go into that space where we're going to come against, against one another. It doesn't matter whatever the case is, because the higher we are, particularly in these spaces, believe me, they start with us. The temptations start right from the home before they even go out. So we have to be very, very cautious, what we let into our circle. That's just what I wanted to bring as a feedback to all of you that are watching, or those that would listen but will still listen. It is oneness. Elder, you said it. It is oneness. Oneness means in anything, it is oneness. I belong to you. You belong to me. No way again. It's over.
The problem is this: we are not infallible. We're not the Pope. He's more infallible than anybody else. But and we can always make mistakes. And the trouble is that the higher, the more we are being used, is the more painful the mistake can be. And it is for our people to love us in spite of our mistakes, because obviously it is a mistake that we can say things that are not right in the context where it was used, and then if the context is misunderstood, it makes it not right at all. And then when we come face to face with that, sometimes we don't even want to face it again, because we think that it's done. It's like a bag of feather. You punch it and you went to the window and you shake it.
Mm.
And then somebody say, could you go and pick them back up? You can't, because it's impossible. But it's for us to move to that place of understanding that we're always going to make mistakes. We don't have everything perfect. And it also goes to show the depths to which the influence of the nations is on us. Not
Mm.
that we might want to promote anything like that, but by error, we might say something saying, look, I'm not going to focus on that man's behavior, which we can't really divorce from the man. I'm not going to focus on his behavior. Let me just focus on his business. Let's say the man is making houses, right? And then I say the man is making houses, but he is not according to what we will call normal, right? But he's making
Mm.
houses. And then I'm going to say to you, let's focus on the houses. I want to sell his houses. And then somebody's going to say, but this is the man. And they link the man and his house. And it's always going to be like that. And we need to be sensitive to that in our communities, because some of us have suffered. For example, you might not know, but I'm going to say it here, that in my job, and I was working in the UK here. I have not worked for it's going to be nearly 3 years just now, right? But what happened is
Mm.
that because I reported a matter, that a falsification that the system was conducting, but they're more powerful than me. What they did was, knowing my teachings, knowing what the Bible says, they used the Bible and homosexuality against me to get to dismiss me, to the point where they fabricated my YouTube channel, claiming that I had 257,000 votes, subscribers. You see it there, it barely got 2,000, you see? And they were able to create around that same kind of conversation, because I believe the Bible and I will always declare what the Bible says. All right. And it could, and I'm at the same breath, I'm not going to persecute anybody
Mhm.
for what the life that they choose or want to live. And I guess this is what you was trying to say. I didn't listen to it, but I'll go and listen to it. Um, I would not go about persecuting anybody if that's the true choice of their life. But they must not feel uncomfortable if I'm declaring what the Bible is saying, because that and what I believe as a person. That's why I believe that style is not right. I don't believe it's right. But I'm not gonna go around persecuting people that want to live like that. That's their business. You see? But when you're coming, you got to draw some lines, because it's difficult. And when you make the mistake, one of the strength of a leader is to come back and say, I'm sorry that you understand what I said in that context. What I was trying to explain is this, like I explained to you just now. I'm not going to form up no organization going around the corner looking for gay men or gay women and beat them up or anything of the sort. But that doesn't prevent me from still saying what my religious beliefs are, right? You see? And you must be able to balance that. I'm not going to persecute you for what you want to do. And I don't expect you to try to bring me into what you want to do. And so that's the line that we're going to draw. But if I'm going to say something that is causing you to misunderstand my position on it, then I should be given a fair chance, one, to come and explain, and to take my right stand and say, look, this, you misunderstood what I was saying. This is my real position on this matter. I need to correct it. Because many times things could come out of our mouth that when we listen to them again is not what we really want to say, and that's not the position that we really hold. And those people need to get a fair chance, like Brother Rotundo, wherever he said, I'm going to go and listen to it, and I'll call you on it and tell you what was my view on it. But as it is, my views on those matters is on the scripture. That's what the Bible says about it. That's what I really believe about it. And but in the same breath, I'm not going to run a campaign to go hurting people that want to be like that. Let them be how they want to be. But don't bring that to me and bring that to my family and bring that into my home and bring that into my system, because you know that I don't like that. You can carry on what you want to do. You're going to face your dealings eventually. But that's my position, and that's always been my position on those matters. But I'm not going to stop teaching against it. My show last night, I made reference to it because that's what the scripture says. That's how I am. I'm not going to change that. So I think there is a misunderstanding there. If it exists, then brother should be allowed to come back and explain himself. And the forgiveness and the The willingness to embrace a brother that made a mistake must always be there, because at the end of the day, it's still your brother. All right. And I know he's strong enough to take correction, because that's what make us leaders. We must be able to make corrections and adjustment, because you look at me. I'm writing that book, Dr. Tata, and in that book, I've got things there that now I don't believe. What's going to happen to me now? Because now I don't believe some of the things that I wrote there. I've got to go back now and correct them, because now I got more information.
Mm.
And somebody said, but you said this before. You said Shabbat Shalom. You said Shabbat Shalom. No, you're saying Shabbat Shalom is not right. You see? And so now I'm in a trouble there. So I must be given the chance to say, well, yes, I did. But now
Yeah.
I'm coming back. And that's why I don't change my videos from old, because I want people to see the growth. And that is growth in a leader. When you make a mistake, come back to your people and said, sorry, you misunderstand me, or what I said wasn't right. And then you take it from there, because that's the strength of the black man and the black.
Absolute, absolute, absolute. That's the spirit. That's the Ubuntu spirit or the abundant
Yeah,
spirit, and that's
yeah,
our spirituality, oneness. I mean, it doesn't mean that, are we saying that we are perfect? No, we are not saying that. Absolutely no. But we are saying our strength is that to connect our imperfections, right? So we don't say we're tearing apart because,
never.
wrong, but we just say, yes, we do understand that we are imperfect. And so, but we working together because we belong. And I think that's also one of the things that we want to achieve. I think the best way or the basics way for us to say, I know we don't, we from the Pan African Daily or the Africa One Global are not getting into curriculums. We will work with the curriculum that you're doing there, but the basic thing that we want to start teaching, like we say, Pan-Africanism from the basics, is
Yeah,
just on that knowledge of self and history. Because when these two fit together, you see people reposition themselves and they
yeah,
begin to understand their environment. What does it mean? Just taking notice even about some things around you. A lot don't know because, of course, they're living in that Adams
yeah.
a place where they say you're in the garden, but you don't even know which plant or which trees are there.
Mm,
Yes, because they are blessed, because they are wealthy. Why should they even bother about these environments? This is our own colonial mentality
yeah.
when we're out here, that we're taught this essence because of that divide system
Mhm.
and culture. But in our own culture, in the villages where we grew, then nothing happened like that because it was just a normal thing. It was just a normal. And coming back to your issue of the chiefs, I can guarantee you. I mean, we are how many on the continent? So when we pick some points and we say a chief or the kingdoms, people normally would generalize it as if that is the normalcy. No, 99% of our chiefs are still very traditional. Of course, that's their function. They also took over their rituals from their ancestors, which they dare not break. And even the ones that have been, like King Maponga was saying, you really don't know how they even came into chieftaincy or being kings. Today, we see the diaspora when they're successful or they have some means, they go back and buy some titles. But did they actually belong to the bloodline of the king? So they won't do such mistakes. So these are all work that we still have to do, even in terms of educating. But we see that most of the kingdoms of Uka, they're very open. They are even the rebellious kings
Yes,
that actually resisted colonialism, like King Bongane and the others. And you see they're still standing their grounds and saying, we
yes.
need to just go back to the way of our ancestors, like you're saying. So actually, everything that you've been saying here is absolutely correct. I also want to give a feedback on comments that we're having. We've been seeing in the last times a couple of videos of our brothers and sisters who went on the continent and maybe made some very bad experiences and they're so disappointed and they want to come back. So that will be our next topic in the next days. Tomorrow we're waiting to have a guest on that. Your experience on the continent and what are the feedbacks that we need to go,
Mhm.
because that's also one thing, being excited going on the continent and then getting a setback. I don't know whatever happens. I think when we are going with that spirit of going, we shouldn't expect anything. We just go like they took us into the boat and we just came here and found ourselves into plantation. Then we walk our way through. Don't expect anything from the continent. And that's why I'm so very critical sometimes, not just to brand the continent as if it's what is here. Because when we talk about, oh, it's so rich, it's so this, people get another kind of a picture, crazy pictures in their face or in their heads. I don't really know. So when they go and they meet the daily life culture of the Africa, they'll be like, oh, I thought, I just come here, just do some business. It's my country. I look like them and
See,
stuff. One of the program is reintegration. We have that on the list. How do we take and walk our people that are coming so that they don't be disappointed? Remember, when they took us out here, they also did the same brain damage to them. And
yeah,
so keep us apart. So we need to exercise a lot of patience, and we're building out all this counseling and hotline spots when somebody is really just not in that space to talk. You want to talk to somebody, you want to get some advice, or you want to, even get counseling before you make the next step. We are putting all that hotline and everything on the ground. So I want to thank you. So Elder, you want to round up?
yeah. And just on the little bit that you just said, that's why we have these groups. Yeah, we got these 13 groups because when I went to the continent, I got there. I was to go to Botswana the year before, and then I didn't get an interview. They said they saw my name the next year, and they said this guy should have been in Botswana. They came to Guyana to collect people. So when I go for the setting myself up for the interview, said, no, we're not interviewing you. You're on. Just get yourself ready. You're going. And so I picked myself up without thinking. I went to the continent. I know nothing of the continent, and I live. You see, and I went there and I picked my way up, and it was lovely. I don't even know why I did left in the first instance. Maybe to come here to have this experience and then to come back. But
Yes.
that's why we have these 13 groups. In these groups, you have people on the continent, kings and leaders on the continent that are in these groups, and they're talking with others, and we're from all parts of the diaspora, all part of the world, the Caribbean, America, Europe, Africa, we're all there, and we get to share. We share the culture, we share the agriculture. That's why we got the Bantu calendar. We got it right. It's on the Black Education TV website. You know all the festivals, everything. People are studying the scriptures and bringing these big things back. And so you can't just go to the continent. The good thing is that when you go with the knowledge that you are the children of Abraham, you got different mentality. If you go to that continent thinking you going there and you're going to make money and thing and what,
Yes,
you're finished.
absolutely.
You're finished. You're going to find a snag. You got to go there knowing that this is land that belongs to you, your own. This is where you live. This is your family. This is your blood, and that you finish here. Yeah, you're gonna die here now. And when you go with that mentality, you don't go there looking to see if you can make a buck here, a buck here, a buck here, a buck. No. That. You go spend. You want to live in all of them restaurants, and so you are going to be in trouble. You're going to be in need.
That's why I also find it critical when we talk to the diaspora as if they are investors on the continent. I think that language we should also start
Shouldn't be moving that. We're not investors. I'm coming home.
Yes, that teaching is absolutely wrong. I mean, in terms of cross-cultural training, where we are saying we're doing our work and our engagement to get our brothers on the continent, and when we sit again and like, oh, there are opportunities, as if we are rebranding to the Chinese, who are the children of the land. Yes, of course, there are business opportunities for those on the continent and every other person. That's why the whole world is running there. But you, like a son and a daughter, a queen and a king, a princess of this origin, you have no business to say, I'm going like a businessman.
Yeah, to go make money. I'm going to make money. No.
And that's the problem. That's the problem of this character of opportunist, that we've learned of I want to grab something for myself. And when you go, your attentions or your intentions are not met, you become disappointed.
And then you begin to do like the guy, he's going to start cursing the country.
Yeah. So we are creating all these narratives to say that, yes, we have different structures that we're operating on, but just to say that, come and invest, come and do this, come home and build home. It is your legacy. It is your continent. Right. And so you don't expect anything. And I love the process that you talk about volunteering. We're also going with that methodology of volunteering. And volunteering is something that we need to to start teaching even our youth and our people, because this idea of I need a job to get something never was our culture. Never. And so I volunteered all my life for 23 years building all these structures. And if I tell you the passion and the gains that I have in it, it's immeasurable. Nobody can pay me for working for my continent, for working for my race, and working for myself, as a matter of fact.
There's no
Right?
payment that could be
No
priced.
amount, no amount. But we are saying that bring in your skills. If your skills are not the one that you can work, some people have to do the job. Some people have to
Just
bring in the money to facilitate that, and then we get it going. But no one is going to sit and like, oh, I want to earn some money or become something here. I think we've said it a million times. It's the same thing that you're doing, bro. And I think that is the spirit, and that's the spirit that we want to keep it here on the Pan African Daily TV and the Africa we want. As a whole. So one last word before we leave.
yeah, I wanna I pray, my prayer tonight is that every single Bantu person in the diaspora will do one simple thing, is remove that Gentile name from over your head. That's your starting point. If you do nothing else, get in contact with us. We're going to give you suggestions that you can choose your name. Remove that Gentile name. You don't have to do anything with it. Just leave it right there. But you know that you're going to be called by your new Bantu name. When you do that, you have broken European control, dominance over you. And then you're going to start seeing Sunini na Nini. That's in the Issiklosa language. Some people might say in the Swana language, Modimo, Chineke, Uludomeri, Tatanzambi. You will see him opening up the door for you. And we walk you through the whole process. You will be in the group, you will be chatting with people on the continent and off the continent. So when you go home, you are not stranger. You know how to conduct yourself. You know how to behave. And so my prayer tonight is that we start breaking these chains, and that the Most High Sunini Nanini will cause his people not to be afraid of going home. And you will not have a bad experience if you listen to those who are there, because they know that they're the children. If you go there to be a European making money, you go there to be a Chinese making money, you are going to suffer. That land is going to eject you.
Oh,
It's
yes.
not going to give its wealth to you.
Absolutely.
You're going home because you belong to that soil. You are the jasper and the sardine stone. That's why you're going home. That's your first point. And when you get there, he's going to open it up. Let the people tell you. You're going to hear the testimony from the people there. They're talking about their volunteer. Go out there, meet people, talk with them, join with them, help them. And those same people turning around now and help you. That's how it works. My mother
Thank you
said,
so very much.
hand wash hand, make hand come clean.
Yes, I want to greet Queen Haifa Kalena. Queen Kalena, I don't know, it's been a long time. We miss you so much here because you hear that Elder Nkosi was coming here. That's why you show up your face. Sister, I'm going to holler you tonight, okay? I'm just happy seeing you here. I mean, the vibration is right here. I want to put on your comments. You say Ubuntu, Ubuntu, Ubuntu. Yes, I think, Elder, you concluded on a very good note, and we're going to see us here the whole of this week. We're going to be live, and throughout, we're going to be live. I know it's been a kind of a back trying to put some one or two structures together, but we'll be communicating on that very soon as well. Get ready with your organizations, with your initiatives, to sign in and be a part of the Africa We Want Global initiative. And this is the umbrella organization that we say represent the concerns, the interests, the aspirations of Pan-Africans worldwide and African initiatives. We need to own a place. But on this concept, it's not about we're looking for investors, period. No. We're looking for passionate people who think this continent belongs to them. And because one thing that we're saying we're going to help our people, I keep saying it here from the word go. We can't help nobody. You help somebody, you're just helping yourself. I know I grew up in the continent. You go there, the continent will ask you, what is it that you need? They don't need anything from you. The first thing depends on how you come. If you come and tell them, oh, I am here to do business and I do this, they will treat you like a businessman. If you go home and say, I'm just home, I'm coming back home. They will take you back into the family and they will ask you, do you need
Yeah.
food? Do you need clothing? Do you need land? So it depends the approach, how you're going to the continent. Talk to us. We are here to facilitate that for you. And in terms of documentation, so whatever thing, we're working with those authorities out there to make sure that, like Maponga said, oh, no, no way. So thank you so much, Elder. Thank you
You're
for
welcome,
spending
Dr. Susan. Thank you for this opportunity. It's a
Yes.
long time, but it's good. It's good.
Yeah, yeah, it's a long time, but you're going to be coming on again very, very,
Yes.
very often to give us a feedback on what is going on. Remember, we still have a meeting.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
to put the
I
first
will
phase
send
of
I will
our
send
planet.
that link to you very soon. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you
going to go
too.
into my show in another
All right.
15 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to Elder. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, fine. I think I see already comment. How can I connect to Brother Edley? I would send his connection to you, or I'll put you in his WhatsApp group. Any of you that would desire that. I mean, I know sometimes when I say things like this, Nesha is not paying attention because she's on vacation for a week now. And then the comments will be coming back. Yeah, Dr. Susan, Dr. Tata, you said this and this. How come these things are still happening? So, my dear fine people and fine family, I want to thank you so much that we are back again live today. Iya, who is on the technical, said it yesterday when he came back from school. He said, "Mom, something is missing." I said, "Like what?" He said, "I mean, the studio is just cold for a week now. I miss the Pan African Daily. I miss our conversations." And exactly that's the feeling I want to share. Even though we were a week of, trying to put some structures together, and I just want to announce that big news to you. We're just launching our second app again, which is going to be the revolution of the African young people, women, and all of us, connecting us globally. It is in the testing, but you just get used to the name. It's called Deconferencing. Deconferencing is already on its way. It's going to be a newborn for the Pan African world and Pan Africanists. And that's why when we get the organizations registered, they're going to start using this app. We don't want our information to be censored, isn't it? We said it a couple of times. We don't want this other platform shutting our mouth from really saying what we should say. We don't want the idea of even somebody owning the spaces that we're sitting on. And we talked about this for all a long damn while. And now we just found that solution to get our own streamline, get our own a combination of Skype, of Zoom, of WhatsApp, of everything. Conferencing can host up to thousands of students worldwide to teach on Pan-Africanism. I mean, that's a bloom. That's a blow. That is a Zoom. That is everything that I want to push it out to you tonight and say that was one of the reasons why we have been busy, not just chillaxing or relaxing in this kind of a cold weather out here. No, we have been working day and night because it's our duty, it's our time to make the change and to make the difference. We're not going to be distracted to like, okay, there's war here, war there. We pray for all those lives that are being slaughtered, the blood that we keep spilling on the continent, and we just hope that the moment we start teaching, even our elders and our leaders, we need to get them back from the mouth of the dragons, right? We need to get them back to our space. The war that we are fighting, like the elders say, is a spiritual one. We need to pull back our people. Each and every one that has misled or that been misguided, we need to pull them back into the space, give them love. Everything that they need to get their brains to order is just love. Nothing more. I don't know how to say it. I don't know any other word. I don't know whatever thing we can offer ourselves, but just love that is going to heal us. Okay. So now we're fighting who took our youth, our women, our children, our leaders, our everything. We need to fight to get them back. When we get them back, we're not going to be, hitting on them. Oh, you did this. Oh, is the African, oh, is that this? Is that this? But we know it's just one person that is keeping us fighting these punches, right? So all we need to do is to get our youth. We're taking them back. We're taking control. We're taking that control over that space. Us, mothers, women, boys, our girls, our children, our grandmothers, everybody, we need to get them back. Give them that love that they need to heal and get their brains in order. So we see ourselves tomorrow. It's been a wonderful pleasure. I miss you all so much. And you can see, I don't even want to leave. Iya is already like, remember, I've got to go to school tomorrow. Yes. So we see ourselves here again tomorrow, dear family, and we keep that light going. There is no teaching that we have to do. The only teaching that we want to start doing on the Africa One Global is just love. How do we love again? Most of us don't even know what it is. And not the LOVE, Ubuntu. What is Ubuntu? I can tell you every tale about it. And this is our time to heal. We've already passed the crossing line of fear, of the dragon, of whatever. We're over that. Now it's time for us to heal each other. And it's free, right? So I see you tomorrow. You see me tomorrow. You see, I'm excited, as you can see. So our topic tomorrow would be posted in the morning or in the afternoon, but we want to talk about these experiences that our people in the diaspora get disappointed on the continent. What can be some of the issues, and what is it that we should be talking to? If you know a case out there, please bring our attention to it. We don't want that kind of going back and running, just like you cut the rope off your neck and then you go take it and tie it again. It's not gonna work. We have to fix these things to work in our favor. So good night. We see us tomorrow. Bye-bye. You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tata. The Africa we want: unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.